Hey guys, welcome back to Phil's Corner and welcome back to What I'm Buying, this new series which we've started this year, which has a very simple premise. I'm basically just going to show you the shirts that I've added to my collection, my personal collection. And anyone who is a regular at the channel will know that we've actually missed last month's What I'm Buying video, so What I'm Buying August. I've been away for work and on holiday. So I thought I'd combine both August and September into one special video, a sort of double header if you like. So this is what I'm buying August and September. As you can see already at the start, I've got a Classic Football Shirts Museum Box, and this is actually the first one of these that I've ever received. So we'll come on to that. I'll probably save it to the end because that is particularly exciting. And yeah, look forward to that at the end of the video. Before we get onto the pile of shirts underneath it though, I will ask you to please subscribe if you haven't already. Being a subscriber means you know when I go live for my live streams, whenever a new video goes out as well, you'll get notified. And it's just a great way to support the channel for no cost to you at all. So please do that if you haven't already. Please also leave a like if you enjoyed today's video, if you enjoy this series, and let me know in the comments which of these shirts, which of these pickups are your favourites. And finally, don't forget that I've got a Patreon. This is something I've been doing for a couple of years, and there's some great benefits. You can get an exclusive Phil's Corner shirt, and perhaps best of all, you get access to a community of people, collectors around the world, which could be a really good thing if you're trying to source shirts. And this is one thing which I've been talking about a lot this year with my Patreon. There's collectors in countries where they might be able to get shirts that you can't. So for example, me living in the UK, there's a couple of shirts here which weren't available to buy at retail as standard. But through my Patreon and through that kind of list, that network there, yeah, I've been able to pick up some shirts which I otherwise wouldn't be able to get. So that's one of the benefits as a kind of knock-on benefit of the other stuff you get. But if you want to find out more, there is a link in the description. Check that out. But anyway, we're here to see some shirts and I want to just get straight into this pile. As I say, I'll move the box. We'll keep that to the end because I'm very excited to show this off. And I've never even had one of these boxes before, so even just seeing the box is pretty cool. Looks like pretty nice quality. Again, we'll come on to that at the end of the video. If we start with this Boca Juniors shirt, this actually continues a theme which we saw in the last What I'm Buying video. In that video, I talked about the fact that I'd been reacquiring shirts which I'd previously sold. And anyone who knows me knows I quite like to sell a lot of the shirts that I have in my collection, not necessarily even for profit, but just to keep shirts coming in and out of the door. But often I sell shirts and then think, oh, I wish I'd kept that. And this was very much one of those. This Boca Juniors shirt, was it last year or 2 years ago? I can't even remember now. But it's heavily based, of course, on the famous West Germany shirt from 1988, and they kept it for 1990. So you can see here as a kind of modern remake, a modern take on that old shirt. What's really cool about this one as well, though, is that we do have a name set on the back, which is in great condition. And you can see, again, what I think is a unique typeface for Boca in their colours. Looks really good. Again, just seeing the quality, there's absolutely no cracking at all or damage, and that's great. Same on the sleeve sponsors there, which all look good. I'm not the biggest fan of kind of double sleeve sponsors, but it is what it is. It's not too bad at all. And the name set there for Fabra. Lovely shirt, and again, this is one which I'd had in my collection before, although not with the name set, so I was happy to find this for a good price from a fellow collector. And again, since kind of selling it, I'd been thinking, oh, I'd quite like that back, which is one of those things, again, when you do sell shirts, you often do feel like that with some kits. Of course, it would be silly to reacquire them all, and often you'd be losing a lot of money. But yeah, this one, I think particularly having bought the old versions of the shirt that inspired this when Boca had this pattern in the 80s, acquiring those since selling this made me realise how much I'd actually quite like to keep that modern version. Then I can do those cheesy photos which people do, which are actually quite nice when they show the old original shirt and the shirt that was inspired by it and things like that. And I don't need to tell you guys how much I like Boca shirts. They are pretty much, I would say, my favourite club when it comes to shirts. If I could only collect from one club, I probably would choose Boca. And their revival, or their second stint with Adidas, has been very exciting to see. Moving on now, we have this Parma shirt, and those who have been watching my eBay shirt hunting series will know this came from there. This came from eBay. It used to be that when I started collecting, eBay was where I found the vast majority of my shirts. I don't use it as much as I used to, but you can still get good deals. And this one, again, came directly from there. This particular Parma shirt isn't necessarily my favourite, but I do really like Parma shirts in general. They're another one of those clubs like Boca Juniors. It must be something about these colours, blue and yellow. But I really like Parma shirts typically. Araya as well, a great manufacturer doing a lot of good stuff. This shirt is really interesting to me, and seeing this in person, I'm really happy to get a good look at the various details. Which is one of the things about collecting shirts, isn't it? It's one thing to see pictures of a shirt, but when you actually see a shirt in person, things like, what does that pattern look like up close? To me, it looks pretty good. It's nice and crisp, the sublimated pattern there. And one thing which I love, when you have shirts that have a horizontal band or just block colours in kind of chunky sections like this, it's nice to see them as actually part of the shirt, part of the material. It's actually stitched in. If I turn the shirt inside out, you can see that there. And it's a small thing, but that adds so much more quality compared to, say, if the shirt just had that as a print. So that is really good to see. That's a good quality element which you like to see from any manufacturer. This underarm panel, this side panel, very reminiscent of early naughty shirts from the likes of Adidas. So that's quite funny. That feels like an unintentional nod to that era. But this is a smart shirt. You can see on the back neck a phoenix, which feels quite appropriate. I think it's a phoenix anyway. It looks like a phoenix. Given Parma's rise, of course, through the divisions, it certainly makes sense that they would use a phoenix. In fact, yeah, you can see that same phoenix in the band there. So that's great. Really nice shirt. And again, this was a bargain pickup. I can't remember the exact price. I think it was around £20. So guys, do check eBay from time to time. Even if you're someone like me who's not after necessarily a lot of specific shirts, I'm quite open to whatever's out there on the market, really. I like eBay. I like jumping on there once a week or so. There's many ways to shop through eBay. Of course, you can check out the videos on the channel that are talking about eBay. And typically on a Tuesday evening is when I will be doing my streams, my eBay hunting streams. But yeah, that's the Parma shirt. Now you might be getting a sense of deja vu with this next shirt. This is the Club Atletico Belgrano away shirt, which I talked about again on a previous video. But you'll notice that this has long sleeves, and this is actually just a swap I did with another collector. I had a short sleeve version in the size that they preferred, in large, and they had an XL with long sleeves. So we did a trade, we did a swap. And for me personally, I was quite happy with an XL, because an XL with a Raya typically is a bit more like a slightly looser large, and I don't mind shirts being a bit looser. Plus the fact that I don't actually wear a lot of my shirts, so I was happy to do the swap to get the long sleeve version. Even though the pattern, that lovely pattern in the body, doesn't continue in the sleeves, it still looks great there with the long sleeves. And guys, I've been so high on this shirt ever since I saw it, and the more I've seen it, the more I've been convinced that this is probably my favourite shirt of the year. Adding to the design is the fact that the club actually got promoted to the first division in Argentina, so there's been a lot of excitement from the club fans. So much so actually that I just announced on Twitter, but I'll say here as well on YouTube, I'm going to be doing a new series. I've been thinking for a long time now about doing a bit of a documentary style series on this channel, something which involves interviews with designers and fans, and something which will take a bit more time to produce. I might even write a script, which I've never done here on Phil's Corner, but I think I'm going to kick off that series with a look at Club Atletico Belgrano and this shirt in particular. Again, speaking to the people who designed it, speaking to the fans who have been enjoying it, because it is not only one of my favourite designs of the year, but certainly one of my favourite stories of the year. So there's going to be a lot more to come from this shirt. I won't dive into it too much because, again, that was on a previous video. Was it July or was it June? I can't remember which What I'm Buying video it was, but go and check out the videos. I think it was June, but either way, it was a previous What I'm Buying video where I dived into it a bit more. All I'll tell you now is it is just one of my favourites of the year. And even though there's some strong contenders and actually two shirts underneath this are contenders for shirt of the year for me, I think this one is probably going to take it, all things considered. Wonderful kit from Belgrano and Araya. Really good stuff, and great to get this in long sleeves for the collection. And now we've got two amazing shirts. I just talked about Belgrano being one of my shirts of the year. These next two shirts are easily in the top 5 and challenging the Belgrano shirt. We'll start with this beautiful Brondby shirt. I say Brondby, that's slightly closer to the pronunciation, as I learnt when I did behind the chevrons on the team with Hummel. I actually got a chance to see this shirt in person quite a few months ago, again when I was filming in the early summer with Hummel. This was the shirt which probably stood out the most of the ones that I saw, the previews that I saw for this season. And it really is a stunning piece of kit design. The whole premise of this one is that it's inspired very much by the fans of the club, the passionate fan base that Brondby have. And it's also kind of got a tattoo theme. So there's imagery from Verstegen, where the team are based. You've also got the club crest and other images that the club worked with fans to choose, and it really is stunning. Even things like the chevrons have been improved this year. You can see a nice little pattern. It's very subtle, but I like that. And that's something which Hummel have been doing with a few teams. Again, it's very subtle, but these do add a lot of quality to elements of a kit which would otherwise be quite plain in previous seasons. The colours are beautiful here. You've got a kind of two-tone blue in the body, and again a slightly darker blue on the sleeves. Obviously the yellow of the club really popping again, and it's another blue and yellow shirt, so clearly it is a colour scheme that I like. I'm clearly quite partial to blue and yellow, as we've seen with a few shirts. The club crest, honestly I actually prefer some of the pure plastic TPU styles, and this kind of backing, I don't even know what you call that to be honest, but this is quite common. It's a kind of almost like an embroidered patch style. It's good, but I do think there are actually better crests these days, but I'm being very picky. This is still a beautiful shirt. The sponsor looks good in the yellow. It is a really nice shirt, and arguably one of the best things as well. If we turn it over, you can see we've got a pattern all the way down the back, and I feel like we've kind of turned a corner. I've seen a lot of shirts this year which have actually had patterns on the back for several years. It was the case that typically you wouldn't see that. I'm glad that a lot of teams, not every team, but a lot of teams are coming back to this. And it's perfectly achievable again. If you're going to have a bright yellow number on the back, you could easily see that despite the busyness of this pattern. So that's a really nice feature. But yeah, honestly guys, alongside the Belgrano shirt and the shirt to come as you're seeing underneath it, this is such a beautiful kit. This was actually picked up thanks to a friend on my Slack channel, on the Patreon Slack channel. Shout out to Svante, who lives in Sweden. He was able to pick up the shirt for me and a bunch of other people in the Slack group from Hummel's site. Typically a standard. Unfortunately, Hummel don't ship to the UK directly from their site, which is a bit of a shame. So again, if it wasn't for that group, I wouldn't be able to get hold of this shirt. So that is a plug for the Patreon. But equally guys, one of the things I'd really recommend is to get to know collectors around the world, whether it's through Twitter or Instagram, or however you might be able to come in contact with other collectors. It's such an exciting way to be able to grow your collection. It might be that you trade some shirts with people around the world and maybe pick up a shirt you would otherwise struggle to find, and in return give a shirt which to you might be very easy to get from your country, but for another collector it might be quite hard. So you can trade, of course. In this example again, if a shirt comes out and you really want to buy it and you can't because the club store doesn't ship to your country, again, many people are more than happy to receive a shirt and send it on. So yeah, I would really recommend doing that, and that just comes with time. Again, because I've been in this game for quite a few years, I've got some contacts around the world. Not quite every country, but certainly a few of the key ones like Argentina and Japan and places. I might actually do a video in the future talking about the benefits of trading, why I think more people should trade. Beautiful shirt. This is definitely one I won't be selling. This is definitely one I'll be keeping for the long term. It is a beautiful design and very happy to own it. But somehow we come into a shirt which might even be better, and this is absolutely incredible. I shared this already on Twitter as I did with the Brondby shirt, so many of you will have seen a few close-ups, but this is the Japan away shirt, and I cannot tell you how much I am impressed with Adidas's development here, with the progression that Adidas have made. There are so many things which are a clear step up, and things which we've been clamouring for, not least the fact that we've got 3 stripes all the way down the sleeves. Now I say all the way down, there is a break for competition patches, but nonetheless on this long sleeve version, this is the long sleeve player spec version, we've got the 3 stripes continuing down to the cuffs. It's such an obvious thing, it's such a strength of Adidas kits which has been robbed from us for several years, but it's come back. And it's not just the fact we've got the stripes, it's the way these stripes have been created, and many people already know the deal with this. But this is actual sleeve taping, and by that, if I turn it over, you can see what I mean. So this isn't just stitched on top of the outside of the shirt, this is actually stitched into the inside, and you can see a really nice reverse colorway there, which looks cool. But if I turn it back around, you can see, I don't know how clear this is on camera, but I'll show you some close-ups. It's actual raised taping. And what's really cool about this particular design, and it's true actually of I think most if not all of the Adidas international shirts, is that you can actually see different colours on the underside of that taping. And again, I'll have some close-ups so you can see clearly. This whole shirt though is just a masterpiece. I mean, I said the Belgrano shirt was my favourite. This is probably the number 2, or maybe on another day it would be my number 1. It is such an incredible piece to own in terms of the feel of it and the quality of the Adidas heat ready material. I can sort of take or leave the pattern in the body, but that's being picky. It's a wonderfully light, wonderfully textured look. One thing which I didn't notice as well until buying the shirt is that we've actually seen a slight reduction in the thickness of the Japan crest. And again, compared to previous versions, which are similarly nice and plastic, but this one is slightly more flexible, and that's actually a really nice improvement because it was a lot more rigid again on both the replica and player spec Japan shirts from the previous round of kits. And it's the same with the Adidas logo. Of course, Adidas have already changed the design, removing the word mark, but even on the 3 stripes here of the logo, again slightly more pliable, slightly thinner. I like that improvement. It's a small thing, but when I received the kit I was actually really surprised to see that in person, and that's just a nice development. It's just nice to see marked changes, notable changes, and just the style of the kit as well, the design of it. There's a really nice story going across both the new home and away Japan shirts, an origami theme to the designs, and you can see here there's also a bit of a kind of 3D effect, isn't it? I kind of joked that almost looks like you need 3D glasses for this one, but it's such a beautiful kit. I really like kits that have relatively plain bodies but crazy sleeves. It's actually something which I associate a lot with Nike in the 90s and those great Dortmund kits of the 90s. But of course many brands and clubs have done this sort of thing. It's just a really nice aesthetic for me. And one of the best things as well, which is kind of a funny thing to get excited about, but I really like this hem, this detail, which you see on the sides and on the bottom of the shirt. If I just flip that top up there, or the bottom up there I should say, it's a really nice quality, kind of fairly chunky hem on the back and sides, and you've even got, again if I just quickly switch it around, you can see nice and clearly some details, and I assume that says Japan in Japanese, I don't know, but it's also got a nice stretch to it, so again it's kind of function and fashion in one. Flipping over the back, and you can hear the rustle of an inside tag there if I turn it around. Lovely Japanese flag detail, again really good quality. That middle red circle of the flag is actually raised slightly, so that's really nice. And even though the back is plain, of course in this kit it's not too much of an issue because the front is plain too. Good to see the pattern on the sleeve continuing completely on the back, and again really nice construction. This shirt just feels like a step forward. Adidas have come storming back and they are pulling at the heartstrings, very much so, with wonderful kits like this. I can't tell you how excited I am to see this in person. Even just this authentic jock tag here is a nice quality and nice feel. This one came directly from Japan. This one isn't actually available, at least at the moment in European markets, in the long sleeve player issue. And I'm really surprised by this. I'm really surprised that this is still a kind of thing in 2022, that big brands like Adidas and Nike haven't actually found a way to stock these in European markets. I can't think of a reason why, and it may happen in future. This isn't to say that it's definitely not going to be available. It's possible that in future we'll see it, but what I was concerned about and why I picked this up from Japan was because in the previous round of kits, the previous Japan kits, this wasn't available again in Europe in long sleeve authentic. So I went ahead and talked to my guy in Japan who was able to send this on for me. There are people in Japan, fellow collectors, people who specialise in this sort of thing that can help you out, and you'll find them on Twitter and places. But yeah, very happy to see this in person. It lived up to the hype. I must say, having seen this Adidas shirt, I would really recommend buying at least one Adidas player spec shirt. Of course, some of them will be especially popular. The Japan shirts, the Mexico away is very popular, but even some of the other kits, which maybe have flown under the radar a bit, are still going to be really good, because again, the quality of the sleeve taping, of the heat ready materials, of the various details of these new Adidas kits, absolutely stunning. And I must say, Again, if it wasn't for the Belgrano shirt, this would be my shirt of the year. It's definitely up there. But guys, I have made you wait long enough. What is in this box? Let's have a look. And this particular item isn't actually a shirt. So some of you might know what I'm talking about, because again, I did talk about this on Twitter not so long ago. I'm just going to open it. No more teasing. Let's see what's in the box. And you can see here, this is a Denmark jacket, a tracksuit jacket. You can see it's still in the packaging it came in. So let's crack into this. And I've not actually opened this yet, so I'm very excited to see it. Oh man. Now, you guys know I'm obviously a big Hummel fan, and I'm quite partial to Danish kits, but look at this. I mean, it won't even fit really on the table. But wow, what a jacket. This is pure 90s and it feels wonderful. The materials are great. The sponsor, a little bit of damage, but nothing bad. And certainly the crest looks really good there. I love the zip with the Hummel logo. Oh guys, this looks so good. The colors are so vibrant. Really interesting color scheme. This is a really unexpected color scheme to have. Of course, it feels quite 90s. But it's not kind of a Danish colorway necessarily, but I love the design. I love that colorway. This looks good. I'm so excited. Oh, look at the chevrons. And again, seeing this in person, nice to see embroidered chevrons. I mean, this is just, oh, I'm grinning. You can't see my face, but I'm grinning from ear to ear. Let's see on the back. Look at the sponsor there. The Lurpak sponsor. Wow. What a jacket. I mean, it is unashamedly 90s in its colours and its pattern. This is one thing really which I think separates a lot of 90s kits and jackets, is the kind of geometric nature of it. When you've got all these shapes and these kind of big colour blocks, and of course the colourway again, very evocative of the era. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. I'm very, very happy with this one. And yeah, I made you guys wait for a couple of months for a What I'm Buying video, but I hope this was worth it. And I can't think of a better item to end this video on. So there you go guys, those are the shirts and the jacket that I added to my personal collection across August and September. I'd love to hear your comments. I love to hear from you in the comments. I always enjoy reading your comments. Let me know what you liked about these shirts and this jacket. But thank you for watching. On your way out, don't forget to subscribe and to leave a like and comment again if you enjoyed this. Thanks guys, and see you soon.